and welcome to Day Home Divas. I'm Joanne,
I'm Cash.
And I'm Sophia.
and before we get started with this week's episode, we have an update of a previous episode. Episode 6, we covered Little Scholars Daycare. August 2024, the province of Alberta revoked the license of Little Scholars Daycare, Inc., Little Scholars Greenview, Little Scholars Daycare ECS Limited, due to safety concerns described as an imminent danger and ongoing concerns and increased risk to children in the program. The Ministry of Jobs, Economy and Trade, which oversees childcare in the province at that time, wouldn't release the list of non-compliance concerns, citing the daycare's decision to appeal. However, recent inspections on the province's childcare lookup tool revealed issues related to the use of physical restraint, confinement, or isolation, a lack of child supervision, and staffing to child ratios. The daycares were initially placed on the probationary license due to the non-compliances. After monitoring the program, the province canceled the licenses. However, on June 12th this year, a citizens' appeal panel rescinded the province's decision on 2 of the locations, allowing Little Scholars Daycare ECS Limited and Little Scholars Daycare Inc. to reopen. A Monday news release from Little Scholars stated that the appeal panel found that there was no imminent danger to the health, safety, or well-being of a child, and therefore no legal basis for the license revocation or closure of these 2 facilities that displaced 167 children from care. In the same release, Raj Saini, the daycare's executive director, said he feels vindicated by the panel's verdict, adding the appeal exposed the errors of the licensing officers who ordered his business to close. Okay, I'm sorry, but this defeats the whole purpose of licensing. If licensing officers felt that children were in danger, that there were enough non-compliances to shut a daycare down, why would a citizens' appeal panel, which is made up of 3 Alberta citizens with no specific childcare qualifications, they could possibly have experience in law, social work, or community advocacy or administrative process? That's not childcare. That has nothing to do with childcare. I mean, social work maybe has a coalition, but I don't know,
No.
right? Like, not to mention, they're simply reviewing documents to come to their conclusion. They never saw the inside of the facility, like of the centers. They never saw the looks on the children's faces that were in care. They never got to see how the staff interacted with the children or how the children responded to the staff members. Never interacted with staff at all. Is there nobody that actually cares about the well-being of these kids? Honestly, this is bullshit. It's such bullshit.
Is a citizen appeal even like for childcare related or just for everybody in general?
So this one, it's specific, like this citizen's appeal was specific for childcare. So basically, they wanted to appeal the licensing. So they have these like 3 random people look at all the like documents and everything and then make a decision.
But if it's childcare related, you'd think they'd have childcare people on the board.
Right? It should have to be like people, like other directors, other daycare owners, other like ECE staff, like that are not related at all to the, like, I'm not saying that these were related in any way to these people, but other ECEs that know what they're talking about, that know how childcare works, that know what should be going on in these daycare centers. Like, I'm sorry, but some administrative person looks at these forms and goes, oh, I don't see anything bad going on. What? Like, I'm sorry, you have no clue. Like, it just, and I mean, maybe there's more to it. Maybe it's more than just looking through the forms, but everything I could find, that's all it is. That's all that they're doing, is they just look at all the documentation that came along with the reports. I mean, I can look at the documentation of like the non-compliances that are posted online and say right away, I would not allow that center to be open.
No.
I don't know how anyone else could look at those, what we discovered and what we talked about in our podcast. Anyone that looks at those documents and says, yep, I feel kids are safe there, they should have to put their children in his care. Put your kids in first, and then we'll see. It's disappointing, especially with the way things are going in childcare right now, with so many new centers popping up that have people with no experience going in, and this is what we're getting when complaints are made. It's unfair. for everybody involved, but mostly unfair for the kids that had to suffer that. And now the new kids that are going to be going into that center, because parents will still put their kids there. Not necessarily the same parents that had them there before, but new parents are going to come that have no idea what happened. They don't, not necessarily looking deeply into the center they're sending their kids to. And it's just going to happen all over again. I give it 6 months and we'll be talking about them on the podcast again.
Oh yeah, we got to keep an eye on that one.
Absolutely. They are on my radar. So this episode, we are talking about Active Start Childcare in Seton. Active Start is owned by Laura Bancroft. She is the Chief Executive Officer. She is also the CEO of Magic Mountain and Director of Operations at Child Friendly Pro, which according to their website is an all-in-one childcare management platform. Laura has a Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics from the University of Calgary and a Master's in Education from Jones International University. Active Start Country Hills location opened in 2018, Sage Hill opened in 2020, and Seton location opened in 2024.
So the non-compliances, first off, the safety, security, well-being, and development of the child is to be and supported and preserved. The order to remedy date would be June 11, 2025. Minimum staffing and general supervision, children at all times supervised. Order to remedy by June 16, 2025. Child guidance, inflict physical punishment, verbal or physical degradation, or emotional deprivation. Order to remedy June 16, 2025. Another non-compliance was medication. Medication needed by a particular child is accessible only to that child and staff. Order to remedy was May 7th, 2025. I don't understand what that one would be as a non-compliance, though.
It probably wasn't
Yeah.
locked up. I'm assuming like it was anybody could have just went and grabbed
Yeah.
it.
It's really hard to know exactly what all these are, right?
Yeah.
In childcare, licensing and order to remedy means you must fix a safety issue, paperwork problem, or other rule violation by a certain date. Another non-compliance that they have received was medication, written consent of a child parent. Order to remedy, May 6, 2025. Another non-compliance is notice of change. Comply with the program plan in accordance with Section 2A and 5B. Order to remedy was May 1st, 2025. Medication, written consent of a child parent. Order to remedy, May 1st, 2025. Medication administered according to labeled directions. Order to remedy, May 1st, 2025. Notice of changes. Comply with program plan in accordance with Section 2A and 5B means if there are any changes to how the program operates, like schedule activities, staffing, or care routines, the program must follow its official program plan, a written plan or set of rules that describes how things are supposed to run. Those changes also need to follow the rules laid out in Section 2A and 5B, which likely describe what the program plan must include. For example, activities, health, and safety measures. 5B, any specific requirements about staffing, supervision, or services. Another non-compliance is comply with program plan in accordance with Section 2A and 5B. Also, minimum staffing and general supervision. Children at all times are supervised. Both are ordered to remedy April 14th, 2025. And the last one that I have is a notice of changes comply with program plan in accordance with Section 2A and 5B. Ordered to remedy January 27th, 2025. They sure like to change their plans.
Right. Some of these are seem like not such a big deal, like the changing their plans and stuff. But I mean, that sounds like not a big deal, but it could be more of a big deal than it sounds, if that makes sense. If it's, for example, so they talk about activities and health and safety measures. Okay, so what if they were going to go to this one park that was a 5-minute walk away, but instead they decided to go to this other park that was a 30-minute walk away and you had to go over cross 3 main roads? That would fall under this Section 2A, 5B, whatever, right? So that could be a big deal, especially if you're taking young kids, right? Like the parents have to okay that. Obviously, the parents are not okaying this changes prior to them doing it. So it's not necessarily just we were going to learn about rocks today, but we learned about trees instead, right? Like it can be a lot bigger deal than it seems.
Right. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
so I think it doesn't sound as bad the way it's stated, but I think if it was clarified, if they had to clarify in their noncompliance what exactly the issue was, I think it would be a lot more understandable of why it's in a noncompliance. But these
Right.
medication ones, it's basic shit. Lock up the kids' medication, right? Like, how are we still not doing this daycare centers? It's
And
just,
just have it signed. Just sign the paper.
yeah.
It's
And
easy.
why would you give a kid medication that their parents have not signed or approved? Why would you ever do that? I don't know. It's the stupidest thing ever. If a kid's having like teething really bad and they're in a lot of pain and their fever spikes, whatever, and you want to give them Tylenol, you don't know if they're allergic to it or not allergic to it or if they've reacted to it before. So why would you give it to them without checking? All you got to do is check with the parents. Like it seems so simple.
Yeah.
But my biggest concern is the whole punishment, the physical punishment, the verbal and physical degradation or emotional deprivation. What? See, this is where I feel it absolutely should be more clear. It should say, this is what happened. Like, you don't have to name a kid, you don't have to name the staff, but I just feel it needs more clarification because right now it looks absolutely awful.
It does look awful. It does. And it looks very awful.
And degrading kids, like, these are little kids. You're gonna damage them early.
Right? Like, how old are you, staff members, that you're calling children names? Get it.
Right. Yeah.
What do you get out of that? You're just a bully if that's what you're doing. Like, there's no need to call a kid names at all.
But I think if you're going to call a kid names, it shows how you do not understand how children work.
Exactly.
Because they're not a dummy. They're just learning. It's just like my theory of there's no real bad kid, right? You're learning. You got to make mistakes in order to learn your surroundings and what you're doing and what's right and what's wrong. You're not a bad kid because of it.
Right.
So obviously they don't have the mindset, if they're calling and degrading people, of what actual children need and do. And
yeah, no, 100%.
They take their time. They don't understand right away. Like, that's a child.
Yeah. And what can a kid honestly do that's so bad you need to degrade them? Like what? What could they have possibly done that is so bad? Like, I mean, even the most frustrating kids, like, because there are times that certain kids can be extra frustrating or whatever, but you don't call them names. That's an issue that we have to deal with, that we're frustrated. It's not their fault.
Like I tell our kids, it's like, you can have your day, we can have our moments, let it all out. I'm like, and then we move forward. We have our choices. Right? We either keep on our grumpy face or we move on with our day as if it never even happened.
Exactly.
All right, so now we are going to go over Magic Mountain Childcare and their non-compliances. So I have one here. Children should be encouraged in having care and play experiences that support their development and learning. Furnishings and equipment, indoor and outdoor furnishings, sufficient quantity and variety for children. And those remedy dates are June 11th, 2025.
Can I just interject here and say that the first one, the children should be encouraged in having, that's your job. That's your job description. It's literally your job description.
Supporting their development and learning.
That's literally your job.
Yeah. How can that be a non-compliance?
Right? It's because someone probably just thinks it's a babysitting job, so they just probably sit there doing nothing.
On their phones. I hear that a lot, where parents will walk into daycares and they're in the corner on their phones.
Yeah, that's what you get your lunch break for. That's, unless you're taking pictures of the kids, get off your phone. Work, do your job.
So another one we have noted here is notice of changes. Comply with program plan in accordance with section 2A and 5B. And that is order to remedy. Remedy date is November 27th, 2024. Accident or illness, child's parent is notified of incident. Accident or illness, child receives medical attention. The remedy date for those is September 11th, 2024.
Like, we have to assume that a child was injured, received medical attention, and parent not notified. Do we think that's what that means?
It has to be a child was injured and a parent was not notified.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Right?
So the medical attention one is a separate one.
Yeah, it sounds like the parent was not notified, and it says here child receives medical attention. So not notified and the child did not receive medical attention.
So even worse then. Yeah.
Yeah. So something happened and they didn't notify parents and they did not tend to the child's needs.
Yeah, that's way worse.
Whatever.
I thought that it meant that the child did receive medical attention, but they didn't tell the parents. So this is just even worse because they didn't get medical attention and didn't tell the parents.
That's what
that makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like these are worded so.
That's what I was going to say. Like,
weird.
child's parent is notified of incident. So were they notified or were they not notified?
I think it means child's parent should be notified of incident.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Child
because
should receive medical attention. It's just like breaking it down into.
This is probably why so many
Right.
people don't even look at the site.
right, because they just don't make sense. They don't. But yeah, because you're in non-compliance, so you did not notify child's parents. You did not get proper medical attention.
Well, according to the next one, minimum staffing and general supervision, children at all times supervised, leads me to believe that they just don't have enough staff. They might have not even known that the child got hurt.
Right? Could you imagine?
There's just nobody watching them.
Jesus Christ. Like, again, that's your job to watch the kids.
Right?
Like,
That's the only thing I can think of is there's just not enough people and there's too many kids and they're just.
Or a kid was injured
being
and the
watched.
staff is like, oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, or didn't see it, right? Anything. Yeah.
And I mean, whatever that injury or illness was, it clearly needed medical attention. So it was severe enough that it required medical attention.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for the staff not to have known. Get off your phones. Pay attention. Do your job.
Yeah, or stop talking to each other and start talking to the kids.
Like, these are
Start working with them. Do your job.
like, if they're in a daycare center, they're 5 and under, right? Or 6 and under. They're not in grade 1 yet, at the very least. How
right.
quickly things can go bad for a child that young.
Any age.
Yeah.
Any age.
Yeah.
Quickly. And so I'm gonna use an example. Yesterday we were at the park playing, and this boy, he was 9 years old. He came out of nowhere and he started playing with the kids.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've got kids at the skate park riding scooters. I've got kids on the playground and I have kids in the soccer field playing soccer. So anyways, this boy comes to the soccer field and he's playing soccer with them. I'm like, okay, whatever. Next thing I see, one of the girls that I look after was like wrestling this kid and throwing him to the ground. I'm like, what the hell is happening right now? And then she starts screaming.
Oh my God.
He bit me. He bit her. 9 years old.
We just talked about this. That's not normal.
Fucking bit her. I was like, what the hell? And I look and she had this big bite mark on her shoulder. Like, that's how fast things can go bad.
Right?
They can be playing soccer and laughing, and then all of a sudden she's like body slamming this kid to the ground.
Oh my God.
And he bit her. I was like, what the hell? And it happened so fast.
Yeah.
And then I ended up, so I didn't talk to him.
Yeah, but I mean, the kid was
directly
not in your care, so understandable.
It was a very escalated incident. He was clearly angry and she was screaming.
Yeah.
Actually, she was screaming, he fucking bit me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even get mad at her.
Good for her.
Yeah. And then I followed him to his dad, and his dad was in the parking lot in his car.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm like, your son bit her, and she's crying and she's like, he bit me. And he's like, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry, but I don't know what to say. Right? Like, clearly his son has done this shit before, right? So, but yeah, that's how quickly something can go bad.
Hey, Dad, if you are aware your kid has done this shit before, don't leave him unsupervised in a public park.
Don't
What
leave
the
him
hell?
unsupervised while you sit in your car. And yeah, so, and that can happen even with older kids, because they're both 9 years old. So
good for her for shouting, he fucking bit me.
oh yeah, she said she shouted over and over and over again. I'm like, okay.
So here's my take on that, and because I know some parents are probably like going to come at me and be like, "Oh my God, you and your swearing, blah blah blah." No. How often are kids playing and they scream, and you swear to God something like they're dying, and they're not. They're just playing. And they're screaming, right? You don't know what's going on, and we're like, "Yeah, stop screaming, because they do it all the time." But to actually shout, "This is what happened," in a way that is like, I'm sure you looked real quick when she shouted, "He fucking bit me," because the shock and reaction that shouting that specifically gets.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, females, when they are in trouble, far too often just scream. People scream all the time for no goddamn reason. Honestly, like, we live across from like a strip mall. 3 a.m. in the summer, there's constantly bitches out there going, and like sounding like they're in danger. And so I jump up, I look out the window and playing with the guys that are there, whatever. Like, and these are like grown ass girls, 18, 19, 20 something. It's 3 a.m., right? So we become desensitized to a female scream. It used to mean like, holy shit, something's going down. Now we're just like, someone's drunk somewhere doing something, right? But if you actually use words, "This is what happened," that gets people attention. So good for her. I like it. My little PSA there for everyone. But yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
You let her know that random person she hasn't met is so proud of her.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even say anything about it. I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah. Because if she'd have been at the park, like by herself, let's say, with like friends, whatever, and she just screamed because something like, if he had not got off her or whatever, and she's just screaming, most people looking would just assume they're playing, right? Yeah. So screaming, "This is what happened," in a way that gets people attention, absolutely 10 times better than just, ah.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you totally have a point. Yep. Nope. That's awesome. All right, I will continue. Notice of changes, comply with program plan in accordance with section 2A and 5B. And then we already went over this one, but minimum staffing and general supervision. Children at all times supervised. And those are remedy dates of September 30th, 2024. Notice of changes, comply with program plan in accordance with section 2A and 5B. There is a whole lot of those. I'm really curious what those mean, because there is so many of them. It's not clear at all, and I'm really curious about them.
I feel all of these need to give more specifics. Like, you don't have to give the entire, "This is exactly what happened," but could you be a little more specific?
There's just so many of them. And for it to be a non-compliance and posted online,
it's got to be something significant then.
Got to be something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, now the Magic Mountain second location. Minimum staffing and general supervision. Children at all times supervised. Remedy date is April 8th, 2025. Notice of changes, comply with program plan in accordance with section 2A and 5B. Child guidance, deny or threaten to deny any basic necessity. Remedy date, July 22nd, 2024.
What the fuck, man?
Right?
How are you denying them their basic necessities?
I bet you that's something like, you should eat your lunch or you don't get to play.
Or something as simple as a diaper.
Clean up your toys. No, it's probably clean up your toys or you don't get to play. Or no, clean up your toys, you don't get to eat.
Yes,
sorry.
I knew what you were saying. I'm like,
up the toys.
Like, it's coming. She's getting there.
Oh my gosh. Clean up the toys or you don't get lunch.
Yeah.
Right?
Could you imagine starving a kid because they didn't put their toys away? Like, just teach them better how to put their toys away. It's, oh, there again, it's your job. And to feed
Yeah.
them is your basic need. Like, that makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. The consequence has to fit the action. If you're not going to clean up the toys, then next time we're not going to get to play with those toys. That's all it is. It's not, if you're not going to clean up the toys, we're now going to, you're now going to suffer from some malnutrition. That does not fit the action. Like,
Yeah. So
oh my God.
I used to work with a lady who wouldn't let the kids drink water until they've eaten all their food.
Why?
So they would ask for water, they were thirsty and wanted a drink, and she'd say, no, you need to eat your food first.
Why?
But no, this was a parent. Like, it wasn't, like, I worked with her, but yeah, she did this with her own children. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, you know how thirsty I get when I'm eating?
Right?
I need to have a drink of water.
Some food does not go down without that lubrication. What are you doing?
Right?
Like, and what does it?
She would not let them have a drink of water
I don't understand
until they
that.
finished their food.
Basic necessities, like I understand if you don't want them to have juice. I understand if you don't want to have them to have milk, because milk can fill them up, so then they're not eating the same. Got it. Juice, nobody needs juice. It's full of sugar. It tastes fantastic, but you absolutely do not need all that sugar. So I get that. Water, never. When you feel thirsty, you are already started the dehydration process. As a runner, I'm gonna bitch you all out if you don't give your kids significant amount of water. They need that. They are growing. They are like, it helps with digestion.
Yep.
You've got kids that are constipated. Find out how much water they drink. You should have half your body weight in ounces. So let's say you weigh 100 pounds. You need 50 ounces of water a day. If your kids are not getting enough water, and any caffeinated drink that you add, so 1 cup of coffee, you need to add an additional cup of water. That applies to pop. That apply, like, obviously 3 and 4-year-olds, I mean, hopefully are not drinking cans of Coke every day, but sometimes you need to increase that. But that is your bare minimum of the amount of water you should have in a day. Kids need more than that because they are growing, they are running around, they are constantly dehydrated. My kids constipated all the time. They're not drinking enough. Guaranteed they are not drinking enough. If they're lethargic, if they're constantly like just grumpy and not want to, try giving them more water. They don't always understand what thirsty feels like, especially when they're really young, and they can mistake it for so many different things. We as adults constantly so our brain sends us signals saying, I'm thirsty. And constantly as adults, we ignore that because we're busy and we don't want to get a drink right now. So then our brain goes, fuck, she's not listening. You're hungry. You're hungry. And then we stop and we're like, oh, okay, well, let's feed it. That was your brain trying to get your attention to the, hey, I'm still thirsty. So a lot of times when we think we're hungry, it's because we're thirsty, but we're not listening to those cues.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Kids are like, they're getting this message from their brain. Their brain's going, hey, I'm thirsty. And they're like, I don't know what that means. Now I'm mad because you're messing with me and I don't know what it means, right? Like, they're just not understanding. So a lot of times if they're grumpy, if they're tired, if they're constipated, if they're just cranky, give them water. Make sure they're drinking more water and you'll see their mood change. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't deny your kids water. Ever, 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 ever.
All right. Moving on to noncompliances. So medication, written consent of child's parent, remedy date, April 15th, 2024. Notice of changes, comply with program plan in accordance with section 2A and 2B. Again, remedy date, April 10th, 2024. Child guidance, inflict physical punishment, verbal or physical degradation, or emotional deprivation. Guidance, use of physical restraint, confinement, or isolation. Remedy date is October 25th, 2024.
This is the same that was in the Little Scholars, right? It was physical restraint, confinement, or isolation.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Something is telling me they're putting kids in high chairs for punishment. That's what I think that is. Like kids that are too big to go in a high chair.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Like, how else would you restrain them? That's as bad, as innocently bad as my brain can go. I don't want to think that they're like duct taping kids in closets or anything awful like that. Like, so I'm like, they're putting them in a timeout in a high chair. That would be my guess. Like, I don't I hope it's not worse than that.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's not bad, but I hope it's not much worse
Yeah.
than that.
For physical restraint, yeah, but then there's also inflict physical punishment, verbal or physical degradation, or emotional deprivation. Like,
What are you doing to, like, again,
what are you
people,
doing
these
to
are
these
children
children?
under 5 years old. We're talking,
They're babies.
yeah, like they're barely able to go to the bathroom by themselves. How little these kids are. And you're
Yeah.
physically restraining them, or like confining, and your emotional deprivation. What?
Yeah.
They probably cannot even say the words that you're calling them. They probably don't even understand what they are.
Don't even understand. They don't even know what they mean, right? It's really, really, really sad.
Yeah.
All right. Then we have ratios and maximum group size, maximum number of children in group, minimum staffing and general supervision, children at all times supervised. And that remedy date is October 30th, 2024. So too many kids, not enough supervision.
Constantly.
Once again.
Constantly.
It's constantly. Like, that would not fly in a day.
Right?
If that was constantly happening over and over again, they would shut us
Oh,
down.
100%.
They'd be like, no, you're done. And they would call all our parents. But daycares can get away with this
Right.
shit, so. Yeah. Child guidance, reasonable in the circumstances. Notice of changes, comply with program plan in accordance with section 2A and 5B. Again. Remedy date is November 8th, 2024. Ratios and maximum group size, minimum primary staff member to child ratio. Order to remedy by May 29th, 2024. Notice of changes, comply with program plan in accordance with section 2A and 5B. There's a lot of that. And a lot of, once again, minimum staffing and general supervision, child at all times supervised. Order to remedy by April 2nd, 2024. So a lot of too many kids, no supervision, and yeah. Clearly, the government's ratios does not work.
Right?
Clearly, it does not. There's too many kids and not enough staff. What do you do if you run a daycare and 2 of your staff members come down with the flu?
Oh, exactly.
What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Us, we can take the day off, be like, oh my God, parents, we're so sick. Does a daycare phone parents be like, oh, you can't send your kids today, we don't have enough staff? No, they take those kids and hope they don't get busted.
Yeah. Well, so some apparently do call the parents and say, hey, we don't have staff. Because I've seen parents complain and bitch about that too. Which you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? Like, so you take the kids and you be over ratio, which is not good. Or you tell the parents you can't send them, and then the parents complain. Like, there has to be a better solution. So I have seen someone say they want to have like reprieve staff, right? So staff that can cover a shift, and maybe they could do it where, like, let's say for all the daycares, if all the daycares got together and they had
just like the CB.
Yeah. So you had like, exactly. So you had your substitute teachers, you have your substitute daycare staff. If that was something that was organized, and so there was enough of those people, it sounds like it would be the perfect solution, except for the staff, except for those people that are reprieve staff, because there's no guarantee of hours. So there's no guarantee of pay. So that there's no guarantee of where you're working this day. Like, that's where something needs to be fixed. So here's a thought, government, and I'm just spitballing. Instead of saying, hey, we don't care how much money you make, parents, you all get this like awesome care for very little money. Let's go back to the normal subsidy, the normal income testing, the normal, if you make over this amount, you don't need subsidy or childcare aid. You pay for it yourself. And let's use some of that funding to have this reprieve staff, to have it so the staff, they make their wage regardless of where they work, how many days, whatever. So they're basically salary, and they're there as backup care. Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't it be better to know that regardless of if daycare staff call in sick, those kids are still taken care of properly? We put funding into that instead of funding into, hey, this household makes over 200 grand annually a year. We're still going to give them this, like, $326.25 daycare fee. They don't need it.
You know what? That's actually great idea. No, I completely agree with you. And that would be great, right? Because our school boards do it when a teacher's away or when an EA is away or a school supervisor or a lunchroom supervisor.
Yes,
There's subs for all those
exactly.
jobs. So daycare should have a backup
Well, and that,
plan.
like the daycare I was at, we had subs, and we also had some people that just worked part-time. So that way, if someone was away, they could call them in, and each center, because it was a big chain, each center had their own. So you'd have to
Right.
borrow sometimes because obviously some people didn't answer or whatever, but they at least
Yeah.
had a little bit of a roster to call from.
Yeah, and see, that makes
Right.
sense, right? Like, I just think that the staff that are being the subs, it would help the more widespread that worked, right? So whether it's the entire daycare system or like in quadrants or whatever, however that would work, so that because if you have three daycare centers with, like, if one owner owns three daycare centers, so they have reprieve staff for those three centers. That sub might only work one day a month if nobody is sick, right? Like, so the more daycare centers that the staff can be used for, the better,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. You should go into a system where if someone's away, it goes into a system automatically, and then your subs have access to that system and can just pick what job they want
yeah,
to do that day.
yeah, exactly like you
Okay?
said, the
Sometimes
CVE.
it gets filled, sometimes it gets filled, sometimes it doesn't. But then you're not constantly having these kids run around not
Right.
supervised.
So I think there does need to be a system, and that it can't be. This seems to be something that is constant in every non-compliance I look at. It's always at some point the staff ratios are out. So it's obviously a need, obviously something that needs to be tackled. And I don't know, I think we can pull funding from other places. Like I said, the parents that don't actually need it. I mean, I know of 4 million a month that's being wasted on agencies. There's funding there. You know,
And they don't even do anything for you.
right?
You know, they don't try and find backup care, do they? I don't
So
think they do.
they can, but so basically, if there's 20 day homes within an agency and someone's out sick for the day, they just ask the other day homes in the agency, do you have space?
Right.
That being said, they also are expecting all their day homes to be full. Where's your backup care? If every day home is full, you've lost your backup care.
Yeah.
So, and then when they use the backup care, the original provider is not getting paid.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lose-lose that way as well. But the only people that come out on top in that scenario, if it works out, is the parents at everybody else's expense, at the expense of the daycare, like their original daycare or day home provider that now does not get paid holidays or paid sick days. The backup care that now can't be full because they're trying to have a spot for if they're needed for backup care, right? Like it's only the parents that come out on top. Okay, so here's a couple of reviews. So Kay Burr says, my wife and I put our infant into Active Start early December when this location had opened. Upon arrival, the facility does look very nice and spacious. However, it has an unusually low amount of toys for infants. After having her there a couple of weeks, we had noticed that all of the children were extremely upset when we dropped her off, which is natural, and when we picked her up, which is a bit strange too. The caregivers would constantly be huddled in the corner on their phones with a few of the kids near them and the rest either trying to escape or, in our adults' case, alone in the corner with some tape with ink all over it, eating it with no supervision. Jesus Christ, people, do your fucking job. Sorry, that was my ad lib. Sorry. They had sent us numerous photos too of her doing activities while crying for some reason. The crying seemed natural though, as she was adjusting to her new daycare. The caregivers were about 80% newcomers to Canada and spoke very little English. So if you're hoping for your infant to learn anything valuable, you can think again. Fast forward to midway through the month, we picked her up at the end of the day and she had developed a lung illness. So we kept her home to keep the other children safe. Again, something common when that many kids are in close contact. Then a week after we had her home, we received a notice that hand, foot, and mouth virus outbreak had happened. Thank God she was at home before that happened. Around the same time, I unfortunately was laid off from work. We needed the money, so we had to withdraw our daughter from the daycare until I secured employment. We had pleaded with them to waive the 1 month notice as our daughter was only part-time, Fridays and Mondays, and they said no. At a time of high inflation and high unemployment rate, this is what we get for choosing a corporate daycare and not trusting our gut with something smaller and more mom and pop. They only care about dollar figures and not your children, nor the parents, which for some reason is one of their core values on their website. They clearly do not adhere to their own policies, but expect you to. The director, Leah, was very cold-hearted with us and tried her best to avoid the conversation by not answering until I had tried numerous times to get a response out of her. Parents, your kids and you deserve better, and I hope you made the right choice by picking a different facility. You can check other reviews from the other locations and you will see the same thing. They buy people off with a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card to buy favorable reviews so they can treat people like garbage. Shame on you, Active Start Childcare.
And just to confirm, that one was Active Start in Seton,
Yes.
The new one
Yes,
that
correct.
just opened.
So here's an update. Miss Leah, the director, has called me back and said the reason they cannot help us out is because all parents lie, so they ignore all requests equally. At least I know that all parents are treated as dollar signs and not people. At the same time, my daughter's removal from the program of 2 days a week would mean they need to lay off a caregiver. As long as she gets her big bonus, all is okay. Thanks, Leah. Okay, so Active Start Childcare Seton owner responded, thank you for taking the time to share your experience. We take all feedback seriously, as the well-being and safety of the children in our care are always our top priority. We understand your frustration and we want to clarify a few points to ensure an accurate understanding of your experience. Concerns about care. We were made aware of your concerns at the same time you provided notice of withdrawal, which limited our ability to address them while your daughter was still in our care. Our area director later reached out to better understand and resolve your concerns, but unfortunately the conversation did not result in a productive discussion. Staff qualifications and supervision. We are proud to have a diverse team of certified caregivers who meet all provincial requirements, including childcare and first aid certificates. Our staff receive regular training and we maintain supervision policies to ensure a safe and engaging environment for all children. We welcome open communication and value feedback to continually improve. We can also confirm that there was no outbreak as defined by Alberta Health. If there was any misunderstanding regarding our communication, we sincerely apologize for any confusion. Withdrawal policy, our 1 month notice policy is clearly outlined during enrollment and ensures staffing and program continuity. We recognize that unexpected situations arise, and while we strive to be understanding, we must also be consistent and fair to all families. We regret that your experience did not meet the expectations, as we are committed to fostering positive relationships with all families. If you would like to discuss this further, please don't hesitate to reach out. We appreciate your feedback and wish you and your family the best moving forward. Sincerely, the Active Start Childcare team. Okay, so his review regarding conditions in the center, the kid eating the tape and all that stuff, absolutely, I totally get it. That is unacceptable, should not be happening whatsoever. My only grievance is it's still a business at the end of the day. If you're withdrawing your child, 30 days notice. I'm sorry, it sucks. I'm sorry you have to pay for that 30 days that you're not using, but that comes down to, it's a business. You signed a contract, right? So it's not the daycare's fault that your child was sick. It's not the daycare's fault that other kids were sick. You can't expect them to pay that bill, right? I don't know. As a day home provider, I have a 30 days notice policy as well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
You don't pay it, you go to court. It's just part of business. You signed a contract. I'm sorry, like that. I do agree with the daycare center on that, but absolutely they screwed up with how they cared for your child. They absolutely did, and that's wrong. And considering you see the pictures of this childcare center, it looks amazing. It looks so much fun, and I don't think kids need a whole ton of toys, right? Like a lot of it is more the quality of toys, of what toys you have. Kids play with the same few toys over and over and over, and the more toys you have, the less playing kids actually do. So I don't think it's quantity of toys as much. I mean, if there's absolutely nothing for the kids to play with, then hell yeah, that's a problem. But as long as there is something, I think that's fine. But it's disappointing. This childcare center looks amazing. It looks so cool online. Like if you see the pictures of it, it looks so much fun that I want to go and play. like by myself with no kids. I just want to go play there. But like, because it looks so much fun. But for them to be doing such a shit job, man. Like when you have such an amazing facility as they do, like there's so much space. There's like climbers built into the center inside. Your facility should be amazing. You should be top notch.
Yep.
What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Do better.
All right, another review from Natalie Fannin a month ago. A few months ago, I put down my deposit and there was no wait list. Filled in all of the paperwork ready for September's start, and then I am put on a wait list. Tonight, I received an email with a link to my refund and an interact note stating refund return, no spot. Firstly, if we are on a wait list, how do you know what will happen between now and 3.5 months' time? Secondly, that is not an appropriate way to notify a person. Thirdly, why does it still show up that space is available and I need to pay a deposit? Exactly what it said to me when I gave my deposit last time. Space available. So you either lied the first time and then there was no space, but took my money anyways, and you lied that there isn't a space and yet you are still advertising that there is and taking more deposits.
Yeah, that's sketchy as fuck.
But as we have learned, you have to go on a wait list in order to just tour the place.
Right.
It kind of fits.
Yeah.
Another review by Tracy Colina 5 months ago. When a member of the staff calls children under 2 years old dummies, this is not where I would ever take my children. To top it off, the person who reported it to the manager and was thanked for doing so gets fired. Not cool. You really need to take a careful look at your management and staff.
That is nuts that they fired the person.
Isn't that shady as fuck?
What the hell? Oh my God.
The worst part is they were thanked for doing so and then they get fired.
Right? What do you expect? Oh, that's what a good staff member does. Comes to you and says, hey, look, someone else is doing something terrible. If you are the business owner and someone is like screwing up so badly, would you not want your other staff to tell you so you can fix it?
Yeah.
What if a parent overheard that? What if a licensing officer overheard that? You don't fire the person that did the right thing. You fire the person that called the kid a dummy.
And technically, wouldn't they have legal background to like sue them for it too, though?
Oh, absolutely. Wrongful dismissal, right? Like 100%.
Active Start Childcare Seton, owner, 4 months ago. Thank you for your feedback. We take concerns about our staff and management very seriously, as creating a respectful and nurturing environment for children is our top priority. If any inappropriate language was used, we sincerely apologize and will ensure it is addressed appropriately. Regarding staffing decisions, we follow strict internal policies and confidentiality standards, so we cannot discuss specific personnel matters publicly. We want to assure you that all decisions are made thoughtfully and in the best interest of our center, staff, and families. We always encourage open communication and welcome the opportunity to discuss any concerns further. Please feel free to reach out to the center directly.
That is the most HR response ever.
Generic.
Yeah. Yes. Their HR person went, oh, hold on, we've got to fix this. Like, I'm sorry, you did not think that through thoroughly, like you're claiming. You fired the person that told on a staff member for doing something wrong. There's no way that that was thoughtfully and in the best interest of your center. Fuck off. It was not the best interest of your center. It's to get rid of staff that are calling children dummies.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so mad.
Yeah, it's terrible. All right, so this review from Magic Mountain 7 months ago. I strongly caution anyone considering employment at Magic Mountain Airdrie Crossing. The treatment of staff is extremely poor, and I urge the owner to investigate why long-term valued employees with 5 to 10 years plus years of service are leaving in droves. My personal experience highlights the troubling changes under the new director. Liv Harlan as a level 3 highly qualified early childhood educator. I had no issues with this establishment until her arrival. Despite my qualifications and commitment, I was terminated without cause only 1 week away from my 2-year employment. My termination letter provided no explanation, and shockingly, my children's enrollment was also abruptly ended 1 week away from first day of school. This policy of terminating both staff and their children without cause is deeply unprofessional, unfair, and heartless. As a result, my family is now struggling to find suitable childcare, adding unnecessary stress to an already upsetting situation. Prospective employees and families should be aware of the unsettling environment at this establishment. So this is a reply from Magic Mountain Daycare, Airdrie Crossing owner. Thank you for your feedback. We have investigated the concerns you have brought forward in this review. While we cannot comment on specific reasons why your employment was terminated, to maintain confidentiality in a public forum, we assure you and our viewers that all decisions at Magic Mountain are made with the best interests of our children and families. We wish you the very best in your future and hope we all can learn and grow from this experience.
Oh my God, again. Thanks, HR. Your impersonal bullshit response. Give me a break. Obviously, there was some kind of nepotism or favoritism or some kind of stuff going on there, right? Like, we brought this lady in and this lady didn't like you and we like her better, or that's my cousin, so I'm sorry you're out. Like, whatever it is.
That's exactly what
totally
it is.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Daycares, you need qualified staff. The more, the better. You need staff that care for their kids. If her children were in that center, she's doing a better job.
No, exactly. Yep, totally. Okay, this review is from Laura 6 months ago. We have had our daughter at Magic Mountain since she was 13 months. We loved it so much. The teachers in daycare as a whole were amazing. Once they switched her into a new classroom / new director started, we had some serious issues with the teachers. She had just turned 3 years old. They were not showing any understanding of child development or general care for our child. They had been unprofessional on several occasions, even going as far as talking to one parent about the other parent. And also hearing comments like, why don't parents ever think, when another parent dropped off their child with a light up Christmas sweater, etc. Our daughter was having some behavioral issues, so I initiated a conversation to let the director know my concerns about her teachers. She pretty much turned it around on us and not her teachers. She did retrain them, but that only helped temporarily. We came up with a plan to get all on the same page of strategies to use, but things only further escalated. They would write up as many as 6 incident reports a day, and another teacher who was subbing one day said she didn't agree with an incident report from earlier in the day and how she doesn't understand why some people work with kids when they don't like them. We ended up switching our daughter into a new daycare once one was available after a year of trying to make it work in that classroom. She has been flourishing ever since, so we just wanted to let you be aware of our experience. So Magic Mountain replied and said, thank you for sharing your feedback and for letting us know about your experience. We're truly sorry to hear that you encountered challenges during your time with us. Please know that we take concerns like these very seriously and will be investigating further to ensure we uphold the highest standards of care and professionalism. We are, however, happy to hear that your daughter is happy and flourishing at her new daycare. It's wonderful that you found a place that works well for your family, and we are grateful for the time your daughter spent with us.
They won't look because she's not there anymore.
Right?
Bullshit.
Here is my bullshit response from HR. And okay, I will say yes. How many times have kids shown up in something and we're like, dear God, why are you wearing that? Don't parents think? No, they don't. They don't think, because they don't realize. Like, parents don't do it to be assholes. They don't realize some things could cause any issues, because how would they know if they don't work in childcare, right? Like, you don't say that in front of other parents. You don't talk about parents bad to other parents. That's one of those things I have learned you keep inside. inside your head.
Yep.
It's really that big of a
It
deal.
is.
Tell the fucking parent. Put on your big girl panties and just say, hey, mom, would you mind? Like, can we not wear that because of A, B, C, and D? Whatever, right? Like, use your words. Use your words. Like, come on. Like, we say it to the kids. Why do we have to say it to the staff?
So there's another review from Jody W. 5 months ago. 0 stars. Run away from this place and please do not register your child here. Maybe one day I'll post my story, but trust me when I say that if your child doesn't have any issues, they surely get some attending this daycare. Although I have empathy for some of the staff in the rooms who provide care, it's shattered by the sheer incompetence of those that run this place. Unless they've brought in new leadership, provided extensive education to the staff, and substantially increased the number of level 3 educators, then I would steer clear of this place.
I just want to know what her story is. I hate it when people leave like vague stuff. Like, why?
Can you reply on Google reviews?
No,
Maybe we
you
can
can't. I
reply to it.
tried. Because honestly, just being
please
nosy,
tell
I'm like,
us.
you can't post that and then not tell us what happened. Like, we don't have to share it.
Like-
We just need to know personally.
I can find her on Facebook.
I just want to know. I just want to know what happened. I'm just nosy. But obviously something went down.
This person edited 6 months ago. This daycare center deserves no stars at all, as it has to be the worst daycare anywhere. We had a very horrible experience with them. These people pretend to be nice until you make a payment with them, and they see that they have tied you down. Then you begin to see the worst in them. The team is highly insensitive and do not genuinely care about anyone, not to talk of caring about your child or even building relationship or care how bad their reputation is. All they care about is money, even when they don't render the service you paid for at all. Put your child in there at your own risk. I've dealt with a few daycare centers as we have moved a few times, but never have had such a horrible experience like this one. It's better to keep your child at home than have these horrible places care for your child. Magic Mountain Sierra Springs owner, 5 months ago. Thank you for taking the time to share your feedback. We understand your concerns and would like to address them. Our daycare does have a strict policies regarding the payment of fees, as these are necessary to ensure the smooth operation of our programs and maintain high quality care. However, this does not imply or reflect a lack of care for the children entrusted to us. Our educators are deeply passionate about their work and genuinely love and care for the children in their rooms. Building positive relationships with the children and their families is a cornerstone of our mission, and we are committed to fostering a safe, nurturing, and supportive environment. We regret that your experience did not reflect these values and wish you and your family the very best moving forward.
You know, first of all, they weren't saying that they didn't want to pay or that there was a problem with the payment. They were just, so for their response to be, we have a very strict payment policy, that's not what he was saying. He was saying, now he's paid, you're not doing your job. So their response just rubbed me the wrong way right off the bat.
It felt copy and pasted, to be honest.
They're all the same. They're all the same.
Yeah.
It's like they put them into like, I don't know, Chat GPT or whatever, and just like, I want to say this, but slightly different. Stop telling us how you're thankful for our feedback. You understand our concern. Fuck off. You do not.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't understand
Exactly.
shit. You're not taking anything seriously. You don't want our feedback. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. Trying to justify it, make excuses for it. I don't know. Just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just it. You're right. Making excuses for it. They're not taking any of it seriously. Their responses are very general and vague. They don't necessarily actually touch on what the issues are.
Olele. Oleli.
I like Olele. I like that.
Olele.
It rolls
Okay.
nicely.
I can be. A year ago, this daycare deserves a negative star rating. Yes, it doesn't deserve even a 1 star. had to pull our child out of care after several incidences of gross neglect. We initially overlooked it, but it became apparent when our child started requesting not to go to the designated class, stopped eating, and cried with so much sadness. Exiting this place is one of the best decisions we have taken as parents. It has to be said that the only reason they exist is due to the long wait list, the subsidies and grants. It's high time some accountability is demanded from the general public. Once you start asking questions as a parent, you will find out that they have no desire to truly cater for their kids. And then Magic Mountain. So this was Magic Mountain Sierra Springs.
Right.
Owner replied, "We are deeply sorry to hear about your experience and the concerns you've raised. The well-being of the children in our care is always a top priority." And it's not. They always say it, and we take feedback like this very seriously, but they don't. "We are committed to ongoing improvement and accountability and regret that your time with us did not meet your expectations. We are glad that you found a solution that works for your family and wish you all the best moving forward." It's the exact same reply to all of them.
Absolutely. And this person is right. It is time that people start asking questions and someone needs to be held accountable. I'm sorry, but this is your job, regardless of how the funding is affecting you. And I truly do feel for, especially as a private day home provider myself, this whole subsidy and funding and flat fee bullshit, it has caused a lot of stress for a lot of providers. However, that being said, your job is to care for children, regardless of how this is affecting your business financially, regardless of how it is affecting you, like personally, stress-wise, whatever. You still have a commitment to take care of these children properly. Your stress, your whatever is going on should never be like passed down to the kids. You do your job. If you can't, because financially this is not working for it, like I get it. This whole government has got a whole fucked up situation. I totally get it. If you cannot provide the quality of care that those kids deserve, you need to leave the business. It's unfortunate. Yes, like it's not right. It's unfair. I totally understand that. But at the end of the day, we are talking about children that cannot speak up for themselves, that cannot take care of themselves. That's what your job is. You can't let anything prevent you from taking care of those kids properly. If you can't do it, shut down. The kids should not be suffering because of this.
I completely agree. True.
It just makes me so mad.
But daycare owners also hire directors, run the daycare, and if they're not there, they don't even know what's going on in their own daycare.
Yeah.
Right? As a daycare owner, if I owned a daycare, I would want to be there. If not full-time, at least part of the time. So I can make sure everybody's doing their job.
Yeah. And I would want to have a director that I would trust with my life. That director is not doing their job, is not taking care of it. New director. That's your business. That's your reputation. That's your name. That's you. Why would you put your heart and soul and financial everything into a business and then just find somebody and be like, okay, you run it?
Yeah, you have to be involved.
Okay, so Andrew B. 3 years ago says, horrible experience. For a few days, my children attended Sierra Springs Magic Mountain. The kids were filthy when we picked them up. There were children crying their eyes out with no care given by any of the employees. My wife had to console the little girl. Employees were seen yelling at children at 7:30 in the morning. I was able to enter the building without a code, go to 3 separate rooms to get my kids and walk out with them. Not once was I asked to show ID, sign in, or even questioned on who I was. To make matters even worse, we were charged for 2 entire months of care for 3 kids, so almost $5,000 for 6 days that my children attended. The owners have not responded to the Better Business Bureau claim put in over a month ago. Surprise, they are not a Better Business Bureau listed company. Go figure. They could care less about children's experience or well-being. They are just dollar signs to them. They are a joke. Stay away. So Magic Mountain Sierra Springs owner replied, "Hi, Andrew. We are so sorry to hear that you did not enjoy your experience at Magic Mountain. We work very hard to ensure we have a quality program, but it appears you did not have the same experience most of our families have, which is concerning. If you would like to give us constructive feedback on your experience so we can improve our program, please send an email to, listen up, people, admin@mmchilddevelopment.com. Everyone send them an email. Upon receipt, we will be able to look into and investigate your concerns further. We hope you have a wonderful summer.
That was so copy and
Right?
pasted.
It's the same experience, but I'm sorry. You entered the daycare. Like when I worked in a daycare, this was 20 some years ago. There was not all the technology. You signed in on a piece of paper, you signed out. But we knew all the parents. If it was someone we didn't recognize, we ID'd them, blah, blah, blah. Nowadays, they have this awesome system where don't you normally have to like be like buzzed in to get into the daycare?
They have like
Yeah.
a keypad. They have a keypad when you enter in the code.
But like this guy entered in to pick up their kids, whatever, was not ID'd, was not questioned. They made it to 3 different classrooms without anyone stopping them. What? Why? How is that a thing? I mean, okay, so maybe the teachers in his kid's classroom knew him. The other ones wouldn't have. The other ones would not have had any clue who that is. You didn't just, hey, random person walking around the daycare. Are you lost? Can I help you? Like, I don't know. That just seems so dangerous now. Like, again, though, with
It is.
the fees and stuff, that like business is business. You sign a contract, you pay your fees. I get it, unless there's more to that story than what is said. But that aside, your wife should not have to console some random child in a daycare center. I mean, good for her for
Yeah.
doing it, but that's not her job. Like,
No, it's not her job.
and you're yelling at kids at 7:30 in the morning? What the fuck? They're not awake yet. Leave them alone. They just
I'm
got
barely
there.
awake at 7:30 in the morning.
Right? My goodness. Oh my God, these people. Okay, so I will say there was lots of positive reviews also. And I'm not saying that this daycare center or any daycare center is bad just based off some of the reviews. However, I feel it's important for parents to know that these bad reviews happen because, yeah, there might be 100 kids that are well taken care of every day. But as soon as one child is not well taken care of, as soon as one child is treated poorly by staff, something goes wrong, whatever, there's a problem. You screw up one time, all the others don't count. All the good ones don't count. You screwed up one time. That's all it is, right? Like you don't get to make mistakes. You're looking after young children. You don't get to make mistakes. Sorry.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do better. Do your job. Figure your shit out. It's not that hard. Our job, it's a stressful job. Absolutely. At the end of the day, sometimes 5 o'clock, I'm just like, everyone leave me alone. Time. But the job itself, it's not hard. All you have to do is take care of kids, love kids, enrich their lives. That's it. It's not that complicated. How people fuck it up so bad, so often, I don't understand. If you don't like working with kids, get a different job.
Exactly.
Don't work with puppies either. Leave the dogs alone. Okay, well, that's it for Day Home Divas this week.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Day Home Divas, on TikTok at Day Home Divas, and join our Facebook group, Day Home Divas.
If anyone has any topics you want us to cover, or if you have any questions or suggestions, you can email us at dayhomedivas@gmail.com.
We would also appreciate it if you could rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening on. It really helps the podcast move up on their charts so it gets more exposure. You can also check out our website at dayhomedivas.com. Hope you join us again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.